What is going on, everybody? Today is a huge day for Nick Sands Presents because today I am out here in Manchester, Presto Pasta Craft Kitchen and Carryout, and I'm going to give you my opinion on how I think they're doing. As a professional culinary criticizer, I feel as though I am more than prepared to give you the honest scoop on this place and their wares. So let's head in and meet Joseph. So right now I am inside of the famous, world famous Presto Pasta Craft Kitchen with my man
Joe Grella.
They're making pies, they're making pasta. This is a busy little kitchen you guys got. What gave you the idea to start this sort of restaurant? Because I know you've worked in a lot of, you were telling me before, you worked in a lot of high-end restaurants. You've done a lot of different stuff in the culinary world, and you decided to start like an Italian eatery on the west side of Manchester. Like, what was the onus for that?
Couldn't get a good chicken parm in this city before 5 years ago, so we just wanted to create a neighborhood spot where people could come, get good homestead food that brings people together. So we wanted to fill a void that we felt was here.
Is there a reason you chose Italian food and not another type of cuisine?
Well, being Italian, I'm somewhat biased, but I think it's the best. I think it's the best thing to bring people together. When you have a big family, such as I come from, and now I'm trying to start on my own, it's the best food, right? It's cost efficient, it's delicious, it's easy, everybody likes it. You know, you can make some happy, picky eaters with pasta. It can be easy, it can be extravagant. I mean, nonetheless, it's always good, right? Like you said, like boiled pasta with butter and a little bit of shake Parmesan is like as good as going to any high end and getting, you know, white truffle shaved on top. Like, sure, there's a huge difference there, but just the rib sticking, you know, wholesomeness that you feel, man, it's amazing and the best for a nap.
Do you think that if you got in a fist fight with Chef Boyardee, you could take him?
Oh, definitely. He was a little bitch.
So now we're gonna give a couple of your favorite dishes a try, and I got something lined up. I think that'll be fun. So what we're gonna do is, I decided to put Joe to the test, and I pulled up a couple of movie scenes where they are preparing Italian, and I want to see how Joe feels about some of these preps. So we got, why don't you break down whatever this amazing looking thing is?
All right, so this is our newest sandwich on our secret menu called Twist My Parm. So we take 2 garlic bread grilled cheese sandwiches, fill it right up inside with our hand-breaded cutlets, provolone and mozzarella cheese, and then our house tomato sauce in there. So
Jesus Christ.
Twist my parm, baby.
I would just try to eat the whole thing one.
Oh, yeah, man.
While we're eating this, let's start here. We'll watch this.
It's your sister.
Yeah. Now this is the most crucial part.
Oh my God.
You put the pasta back in the pot. You add a little gravy. And a little butter.
Gravy.
Don't call it gravy?
Put the fire back on.
Holy fuck, this is incredible.
Nice. 45 seconds. Yeah, that way the macaroni absorbs the gravy.
I love it. It's called macaroni. We call every pasta macaroni. It doesn't matter what it is. You got to finish it with the sauce, though. He's got that right. Those noodles, right as they finish and come to al dente, they absorb that last bit of sauce. So then once you add more sauce to it, it's not just going to suck all that sauce dry. It's going to stay nice and coated on the outside. So right on there, I don't care who you are. I don't care your explanation. It's called sauce, not gravy. Not gravy.
That's crazy. I've never. So I feel like most people think it's the opposite, where like a real Italian would call it gravy.
Not here.
I should probably fucking actually talk about the food we're eating. Like you were saying, it's super hard to get a good Italian parm anywhere in the city. The major problem that I have with Italian parms is that the chicken cutlet isn't. They generally don't even use a cutlet. They use a tender, which is fucking insane.
Horrible.
Secondly, whenever you have a cutlet, you got to pound that shit as thin as humanly possible.
You want it to cook fast, so all those juices lock right in there, but so you can get the crisp. So more surface area gives you more crisp, more thinness gives you the perfect consistency, so it'll all cook at the same, and it'll cook quick. So I agree with you entirely. I lived in Manchester for 10 years prior to opening this place, and we couldn't get a good chicken parm. A lot of chicken fingers, which It's terrible. Stop doing this, please.
doesn't
If you
make
own a
any sense.
pizzeria and you have chicken parm and you use chicken fingers, just don't sell chicken parm. Sell soggy chicken fingers with sauce. It's not chicken parm, please.
And adding the garlic bread is just a stroke of genius.
Got to make, that grilled cheese bun just does it. But when you do grilled cheese bun with garlic bread, I mean, we're just elevating on elevation. So,
All right, so now we're going to move over into maybe one of the most, or probably the most famous mafia movie of all time, The Godfather. The meatball scene, Clemenza's Meatballs. And we're going to be having some of Joey's meatballs
that's it.
while we're watching Clemenza's Meatballs. So let's compare what we think about Joey's to Clemenza's.
Some girl.
Fuck, I gotta hold the mic in.
Hello, okay? Hey, come over here, kid. Learn something. You never know, you might have to cook for 20 guys someday. You see? You start out with
In case you go to jail.
Clemenza's the best.
Yeah, Clemenza does rule.
Then you throw in some tomatoes, tomato paste, you fry it, you make sure it doesn't stick. You got it to a boil, you shove in all your sausage and your meatballs. Huh? A little bit
Always.
of wine.
We never had sauce that was made without meat. Pork chops,
A little bit
pepperoni,
of sugar.
sausage. A battle. So, like, Clemenza adds sugar there. I wouldn't add sugar. If you're going to cook the tomatoes for a long time, you're going to bring out some more of the acid in them. So the sugar can help neutralize that. I think, again, playing on Italian philosophy, you get good fresh tomatoes and you don't have to cook them as long. That used to be like the measure. Oh, my mom cooks the sauce for 2 days. Oh, well, my mom cooks the sauce for 4. It was, this whole thing. And it's one way to go about it. But again, I think fresh, good ingredients, you can do it much quicker. Couple hours, you're going to get all the flavor you need out, and you're going to be able to put as much flavor as you need in.
Now, what do you think about the wine situation?
Wine's amazing again. So this, I guess, changes the sauce, right? So that wouldn't be like a traditional Sunday sauce for us. This would be more like you're gonna render down that meat. You're gonna turn it into something else. But very typical wine in almost everything with the Italians. So Italian American and Italian kind of have this separation because cost was always a factor for Italian Americans, right? So a lot of things might have gotten cut out to make it cheaper, to help it go the extra mile. Nobody's going to put wine in the sauce when you want to get drunk on the wine, right? So I'm not going to question Clemenza the God, all right? He knows what he did, and we'll take his word for it.
At this point, the family is extremely wealthy. They don't need to cook. Like, they don't need to cook for themselves. They could have people cooking for them. But here we have this, like, Italian gangster who's, like, just throwing this on for the boys while they're hanging out. You know what I mean?
Our restaurant is built off of the traditions that I grew up kind of seeing and witnessing. And certain people just did the things that they did the best, right? That was always it. There's a right way to do stuff. And that trust that gets given out. I have family recipes here that I'm not allowed to be given yet because I'm not ready. They didn't trust anybody to make the sauce but Clemenza, man. If he could make it in prison, he could make it at home even better. So it's like they're not going to hire somebody to do it because it wouldn't be done right. It creates value in the family. If your grandmother gives you every recipe she has, she'd probably fear you're not going to go see her anymore. And, as true and as funny as that is, it's like there's something in there that's kind of special.
All right, now let's talk about your meatballs. We've fucking really hammered home Clemenza's meatballs. Let's talk about your meatballs. So, give me some idea of like the history behind it or the story behind how you came up with this recipe.
We do this.
Okay, you can just take the mic because I'm gonna eat some more.
Yeah, man, we do this the same way that we used to do them, with one exception. So our meatballs here are all beef, just for. I guess the population, it helps make them more available to people. Some people don't eat pork. So if we were to make these at home, we would do a 50-50 mix. That's, again, kind of what I'm talking where we're doing things in the same way, just with a little bit of a different approach. So garlic, lots of cheese, good fresh herbs, and salt and pepper. Real simple stuff. Eggs and bread that we toast here. So there's not a lot of bullshit in it, and that's really the secret. That's the secret to all good Italian food is just simplicity, the minimal ingredients that you need to make something come together. And hey, man, I don't know if Clemenza did it this good.
All right, so one more question about meatballs. From the perspective of a true Italian American, when you order spaghetti and meatballs, do you get one giant meatball on top, or do you get a bunch of smaller meatballs?
I think there's probably some balance. I don't think one large or a bunch of small is the answer. I think that it's got to be like an in-between there. Maybe like 2 or 3 good-sized meatballs that you know they're gonna cook the right way. So a meatball comes together because it has an egg and bread mixture to it. This is what makes it kind of like a meatloaf texture, right? If they're too small, they're gonna be kind of more bouncy, and if they're too big, they're gonna get too mushy. So I'm not a fan of either of those. Too many or too few. I think it's just gonna be just right, like Goldilocks.
All right. So now we are here with a extra special dish off of the secret menu. I'm going to let Joe give you an idea of what's going on here.
Dun, dun, dun. My wife was pregnant with our most recent daughter. She was craving all kinds of wild shit, to be expected.
As they will.
Yes, exactly. So she asked my mom, the namesake of this dish, the Nana, for something that was creamy but also spicy and had buffalo chicken but also raviolis, like just this fucking medley of words that don't usually mix together, right? And my mom, doing what she's done since I was a kid, just kind of throw all this stuff together, and it works. Came up with this, which is now the Nana. It's our cheese raviolis in a buffalo Alfredo with grilled chicken.
All right, and so for the clip, we're going to be watching the most probably famous Italian cooking scene in film history, the Goodfellas dinner in prison scene.
In prison, dinner was always a big thing. They used a razor. They used to slice it so
The best,
thin that it used to
man.
liquefy in the pan with just
Is that accurate?
I've never seen that happen. Seen it burn. When you do it that thin, after you watch this, you're like, oh, I'm going to go do that. I'm going to do that from now on. Usually just burns.
Good Lord, this is fucking unbelievable.
But this right on, man. Everything. We had everything. We used to keep, my grandmother would have these wrapped bones, and you'd clean the pork chop off, and there'd just be this wrapped bone, and it was like, save that. We're going to use that for sauce this weekend. And all kinds of meat. The meat adds flavor, and the bones even more flavor. So I absolutely love it.
Johnny Dio did the meat. We didn't have a
Would that be a typical combination, like a steak like that with the sauce?
Italian dinners. I don't know that you do this every week. I guess when you're a good fella, you can do it every week. We would do more meal like this on the holidays, Easter, Thanksgiving, and my wife would tell a great story about this because she was confused the first time she had Thanksgiving with us. She sits down and we have soup and salad, pretty normal. And then that goes away, and I warned her, there's going to be a lot of food, so pace yourself. So she sees the soup and salad, and she's okay. Then the pasta comes. She just thinks that we're strange and don't eat turkey because we're Italians, like we're some kind of freaks, right? So she eats a bunch of pasta. She's like, oh my God, this is amazing. I never even really liked turkey that much. And I'm looking at her like, oh, okay, well, just pace yourself. So she thinks we're done. Then we have turkey. And then we have ham, and then we have to take a hiatus. Everybody takes a break, and then you come back, and then you have dessert and coffee. So it's really like a 6-hour marathon. So yeah, you would have all these different courses over the course of
I would have married you too.
Some extended period of time. Yeah, it's really crazy, and it's just the more time around the table, the more time to spend time together. A shitload of food over the course of 5 or 6 hours. People got to go take naps in between because they're hurting so much, and. Yeah, man, good on these guys being able to do it every weekend in prison. You just got to whack people to get that, I guess. But I can't tell you how many times I tried to cut garlic that thin just off of this one scene. It really is the most iconic, along with probably the grab of the cannolis in The Godfather. Leave the gun, take the cannolis. So.
Let me take this for a second. Let's talk about this. I was a little bit worried because a lot of times when you get a buffalo Alfredo, the buffalo overpowers the Alfredo to the point where you can't even taste it. This almost is the opposite, where the Alfredo hits first and then you don't get the buffalo until the end. And I don't know how you fucking set that up to do that, but as a consumer, anytime you're mixing in spicy stuff, especially if you don't have a palate for spicy stuff, after that first bite, it fucking ruins the rest of the dish, especially when you're a pussy like me. The next bite is still enjoyable. Very, very impressive.
We make the Alfredo here, so we use the acid from the buffalo more like a thickening agent to kind of help thicken that cream. So it's not a ton in there, and then we drizzle that on top so you get that nice finish.
Flavor.
Yeah, well, when you think about flavor and especially cream sauce, the goal is put that flavor into that, and this is kind of different. It's we want the flavor to carry, but we don't want that to be the driving flavor because, just like you're saying, it doesn't work. It especially doesn't work with pasta, right? A wholesome pasta that you want to enjoy and you want it to kind of build up. wouldn't work. So we had to find a different way to go about it, and that was kind of the take on it.
All right, and now we are here with the quintessential Italian dessert, the cannoli. Somebody did ruin the surprise of the final scene by announcing the grab the gun, leave the gun, take the cannoli. But that's not a big deal. We're gonna watch it anyways, and we're gonna enjoy these cannolis. It's very difficult to find a movie scene with cannolis in it. And so here we are. All right, let's eat some cannolis and watch this scene.
I'm going now.
Yeah.
Will you just eat it if I take a bite?
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Don't forget the cannoli.
Yeah.
So he's got to go to the special place. You can't just get cannolis from anywhere. So the place, look, I mean, Jesus, they're driving fucking all the way across the city, man, right? So you got to go to these specific places for specific things. You know, when I grew up, I thought you could only buy like sausage from. I didn't know a grocery store had all this shit, man, because you could only buy certain things from certain places. Like this was like the way it went. Like, oh no, fuck that guy. You got to buy the sausage from this guy. So yeah, she's sending him out while she's probably getting the sauce ready or getting everything ready for dinner later. She said, hey, go out to the bakery and get the cannolis. They're taking the opportunity to go whack somebody, right? So you know, I'm gonna hit a total sidebar, but this is where they think that have you ever heard 86 in a restaurant? Mm-hmm. This is what happens when you run out of something. They say 86 the item. Nobody knows where that comes from. There are tons of debates as to where that saying comes from, how it came about. There's an old restaurant in New York that used to have a list. Anyway.
Leave the gun. Take the cannoli.
It's a mob term. You 86 somebody. You drive them 80 miles outside the city and you put them 6 feet under the ground, so you 86 them. And this is kind of what's going on in this scene here, right? They drive all the way outside. They tell them, oh, hey, leave the gun, grab the cannolis, because my wife said don't forget them when you get back.
So let's talk about these cannolis. You know, my touchstone for Italian food is Boston Italian food. The cannoli is no exception. This is really reminiscent of like a Boston cannoli.
I appreciate the compliment. We try to tell people this is the only place in New Hampshire that will save you the ride to Boston. You know, got to go to Mike's. You know, got to wait in lines around the corner. You can just call us. We fill them when you come.
That's what she said.
Hey. Just about any Italian bakery, at least that I know of, you go, they get filled when you order them. Here is no exception. All those little pockets that you see in a cannoli shell is from the wine that they use to make it, so it bubbles and it makes it nice and airy.
The wine?
Yeah, so cannoli dough is wine, is the liquid that you add to it, and it's for this reason, because it causes all these little bubbles. They give you the texture that when you bite through, you get the crunch but a crisp, right? You don't want it to just kind of mush and flake, and I think that when people try to cheat and they try to do things ahead of time, it sacrifices what people know it to be. So
really, and honestly and truly, I mean, like, it feels like I'm in like a Boston eatery. Like, you know, you have 2 tables, you got 4 chairs and a waiting area, and your waiting area has a sheet on it. But like, you know what? The food here is unbelievable. I didn't mean to make fun of your sheet on your couch.
I should give you
I saw you made a face when I. Okay. I was like, oh man, I fucked up.
This is like our second home, you know. My wife will give you dirty looks if you talk shit about the way it looks. We love to have people in and kind of highlight what it is we do, because we don't market, we don't advertise. The goal isn't to just herd people through the door. It's to share what we are and what we're creating. So thank you for coming down, trying out some food, watching some iconic scenes, and yeah, I mean, giving us the time to do this.
It is pretty crazy that you guys have literally awards everywhere, and I don't think I've ever seen like an advertisement for you.
Yeah, man. Well, that's the secret. You know, we tell people we're Manchester's best kept secret.
I had made a post on Facebook about any questions people ask, and 2 people commented and wanted to know why you guys are only open 3 days a week and how you can afford to be in business.
Well, first of all, we're broke. No, it's just we have our hands in other things. You know, we do wholesale baking, so we sell pies to 12 family-owned businesses around the state. We do catering outside of the building, and we have 3 kids. So this is a balance here. We limit our hours so that we can always put our best foot forward. and it covers and gives us the availability to do the other things that we have our hands in. So some people get upset that they can't get real chicken parm more, but we just,
Order ahead.
Come down when you can. Call early on Fridays. The goal is to sell out and to keep the food good, and we can't do that by having everything available all the time. So I hope people understand that now that they kind of get to hear it, and if you don't, fuck off.
What can I say? Come down, get the twisted parm. Guarantee you will not be sorry you did. All right. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Bye.